Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. I'm back at it again, man. Boy, oh boy, are we excited to be back. It seems Blog Talk is actually working this week, right? I'm shocked. Blog Talk, you failed us last week. You absolutely failed us. But we'll get back to bashing Blog Talk, okay? I wanted to start off early with that. We got quite a bit to discuss tonight. We're going to be talking about the Jets bringing back Ashtyn Davis, of course. We're going to be talking about the draft as well and the way that I look at some of the things that the Jets could do. I've started to think about some things, man. There's some opportunities for the Jets to trade down, gain capital, and get a player that I want to discuss tonight and highlight. I also want to talk about the state of the AFC East. Since our last show, the Bills have moved on from Stephon Diggs. The Bills have moved on from Stephon Diggs, right? So we're going to be talking about the AFC East as well and where the Jets stand. We're going to have that discussion tonight, okay? Trust me. We're going to get to the lines as well quickly. Don't worry. 973, I see you. Other callers as well. Hold on just a second. It's going to be really quick. But we're going to have quite a discussion tonight. You know, a lot of trade options in the draft. Trading up. People want to move up for Alt and various other people, and we'll have that discussion. But before I get to talking, because I can really get going, let me get the show started. Listen, I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about the football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. All right. I'm also, okay, on iTunes as well. Going over to iTunes, type in Long Beach Joe Show, okay, and subscribe to the podcast, man. You know, I get a lot of people that go over there, they check it out, and they say, oh, what's going on? All right. I like what I'm seeing. Also, leave me a 5-star rating, okay, and leave me some feedback. Again, I want to thank everybody that listens to your boy from overseas. An overseas audience, those of you in Germany, Scotland, some people hit me up from the UK. Salute and respect to you. Thank you so much for listening. But I want to make this clear, okay? I absolutely love and respect everyone that listens to me, okay? Whether you're in the UK or whether you're overseas or whether you're in the States, you know, look, we're all Jets fans or we all love football, or maybe you just love the show, you know? Listen, I appreciate every single one of you, okay? But my overseas guys, or overseas girls and guys, go crazy, you know? So I want to thank y'all for that, because it's always shocking to me to hear someone so far away from me say, hey, Joe, we listen to you. And we like the takes. Some people say, Joe, I love the takes. Some people say, Joe, I got a bone to pick with you. And I listen, okay? Go back and forth when we have that discussion. So salute to everybody. Again, iTunes, The Long Beach Joe Show. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and also leave your boy some feedback and a 5-star rating. Helps you get out there, all right? I'm also on Twitter as well. Going over to Twitter, type in @The Long Beach Joe, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter, okay? And follow your boy. I'll follow you right back, and we can have those discussions. I argue with people a lot on Twitter, okay? I try not to, but it's just there's a lot of Jets fans that want to argue, and I'm here to, you know, as long as it's a respectful discussion, I'm here. But, you know, they want to have that discussion or that argument, and I'm here to have it. I've been back and forth with the Bowers boys. Look, I've fought many wars. many wars, okay? So I go back and forth with people. So come on over, again, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Follow me. Let's go back and have that discussion. Now, for those of you that may not know, okay, because some people just check out the podcast on iTunes or Blog Talk. Again, Blog Talk Radio, I think .com/Long Beach Joe Show. Some people don't know that Joy is live on YouTube as well. Yes, we filmed the show live, okay? Live. YouTube that you can check everything out on is Long Beach Joe Jets, okay? Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you will be in the know. All right? Also, listen, some people, when they come on by, they don't know. They say, Joe, hey, we just kind of bumped into the situation. We didn't know that you did this here live. We have so much fun. I always warn them. You know what I'm saying? When you come over here, be aware. You're going to have to deal with some people. That, man. And I'll call my chat the savages. You want to know why? Because they're savage. Listen, man, nobody's safe. Not even me. If they don't like your take, if they don't like what you bring into the table, they're going to let you know about it. Trust me. They're going to let you know, and they're not shy. Okay, so be careful. You know, you got strong opinions. You know, be ready to defend those opinions, okay, because they're going to definitely speak to you about it, all right? So with all of that said, now it's time to get into it again. Callers, I'll be coming to you in a second, okay? Omar, I see the builder, Rusty, okay? I'll come to you guys in a second. All my new callers as well, again, 515-602-9639 is the number. When you call in, be patient. I can physically see you, okay? I will come to you in a second. We're just going to cover these recent topics, all right? And, again, salute to all the savages in the chat. Michael, I see you in the building, all right? Put your thoughts in the chat, okay? I will come to y'all, but just trust I'm one man, okay? I'm one man. I'll come to y'all in between calls, and we'll get your thoughts and opinions and questions as well. So put that in the chat as well, Savage. So I want to start off by talking about the New York Jets re-signing a player. The New York Jets have re-signed Ashtyn Davis. You know what? I'm feeling this. All right. Yes, now to this point, right, the contract situation has not been divulged, at least publicly. I haven't seen, you know, what it's looking like, but it's more than likely, I'm guessing it's a one-year deal at this point, right? Nonetheless, Ashtyn Davis he's back. He's going to be, playing for the New York Jets this upcoming season. And this was something that kind of shocked me a little bit initially because I remember that a lot of the hubbub that was going around was that the Jets were going to move on from Ashtyn Davis and that this was, you know, pretty much kind of a done deal, that he wasn't really a priority to them, that he wasn't a guy that they looked, you know, to immediately grab and bring back. And especially as the New York Jets were making their signings and things were happening, you know, he just kind of fell to the wayside in a lot of people's minds. There was also some things swirling about, you know, other teams possibly looking to bring him in as well. This free agency just continued to play it out. You know, he didn't go anywhere. So signing, you know, with him, another team, then bang, comes across, Ashtyn Davis is re-signing with the Jets. Now, the thing about Ashtyn, man, we know he's been very up and down since the New York Jets have drafted him, right? There were some seasons where he, you know, wasn't very impressive. I remember there was an injury that sidelined him for a little bit of time. And I remember that, you know, before coming into this last season, there was a lot of talk amongst Jets fans that he was probably going to be a guy to get cut. He was a cut candidate. I remember that like it was yesterday, especially when the Jets brought in Amos and Chuck Clark. And so all these things were playing into the situation. But this past season, he actually played, you know, pretty solidly. He showed that he was a guy that could step in and be a solid piece for the Jets there at that safety position. You know, he gave us a lot. 37 tackles last season, 1 forced fumble, 3 fumble returns. He also had 3 picks. You know, I think he had an interception in that Chiefs game as well, picked off Mahomes. So he was a guy that definitely, you know, showed us a little something. But one of the things that he really shined at and on was the special teams situation. He was playing quite a bit of special teams, and a lot of people don't talk about that at all. So here we get a guy that not only can help us, right, in our safety situation with our depth, but he's also a guy that can contribute to the New York Jets on special teams. So now I look at the New York Jets safety position, and I'm saying to myself, all right, you know, we got some depth in here, but I'm still concerned a little bit. Let me explain to you why. Hey, Adams, good player, right? Undrafted guy that's really put things together, looks really good for us. I think he's going to be solid. He's a guy that's continued to show that he's going to do whatever it takes to get to the next step and get better and get to that next level. So I like Tony Adams here at free safety. Chuck Clark, again, he's been re-signed. He's brought back into the building. He broke our hearts last offseason. I'm sure every Jets fan remembers that. when Joe Douglas was able to grab him, bring him in, and then he absolutely he tore his ACL last offseason. And that hurt because he was a guy that could do it all at the safety position. Right? He can play free safety, he can play strong safety. He's a guy that brings the lumber. He's not going to play around. He knows what to do. He's solid in coverage. So bringing him back into the situation is nice, but I'm wondering the ACL situation. How is he going to look coming off of the ACL injury? There's also a lot of questions about when he's going to be able to, get back on the field, right? A lot of talk that he's probably not going to be ready until the start of next season. So you got to wonder, how's that going to play into things? How is he going to look when he gets off, of dealing with that ACL situation? So that's my big question mark. And, of course, the Jets have Jarek Bernard-Converse as well, a guy that recently got drafted. We're definitely going to see him, be put into the situation in the rotation and takes his staff. Hopefully he's been able to take the next step. So I'm looking to see if the Jets continue to address the safety position. Again, I've been a big lobbyist for Justin Simmons. I don't know if that's going to happen, but points, as from what I know, I believe he's still out there. A lot of talk about Eddie Jackson, and also Micah Hyde as well is a guy that's out there too that I think is a very interesting, candidate to be a Jet. So we'll see what they do. But Ashtyn Davis is back in the building. So he's been re-signed. Also, I want to talk a little bit tonight about Troy Fautanu, okay? I have this idea to trade down, okay, from 10 until the mid-round or mid-first round, that 14, 15, 15 to 17 range, and draft Troy Fautanu from the Washington Huskies, okay? First off, he's a guy from the Pac-12, so, of course, I watch him, all right? Let me be clear. This is UFC Fight On, okay? But this is a guy that definitely has a lot of potential here, right? One thing that I love, I think, the most about him is his versatility. The fact that this guy not only has experience at tackle, but also guard. And when you look at the New York Jets, right, our offensive line, right, we got Morgan Moses in the building, great, okay? We got, Smith in the building as well, Tyron Smith, that's wonderful. But both of those guys, are one-year deal kind of guys. Tyron Smith is literally on a one-year deal. Then we got Morgan Moses on the last year of his deal. So to this point, it looks like he's a one-year deal guy. And then you also got the injury history, okay, the big injury risk here, right, especially with Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith, there's just, and again, Savages, I'm going to come to the calls. I just cannot see Tyron playing a full, healthy season here with the New York Jets. I foresee that he's going to miss some time. I'm just saying it. That's just what I foresee. That's just how I feel. I feel like he's going to miss some games. And so when I look at this situation, I say to myself, right, why not grab a guy that can come in here, be versatile? If we need him to step in, right, he's going to be able to do that. And he's also a guy that we can get ready to move on with in the future. Now, I just talked about the tackle position, right? Morgan Moses, he's got a little bit of an injury history as well, but you definitely look at Tyron Smith. But what about a guy like Elijah Vera-Tucker? Nobody's talking about him either. As much as I love AVT, and everybody knows that I do, he's a Trojan, okay? Y'all see when he's out there, he's dominating, okay? And he'll be back this season. And I'm excited because I know he's going to go out there and do his thing, again, fight on. My thing is he ain't been fully healthy in 2 years, right? He's spent significant time on the IR with two big injuries 2 years in a row. That's one of the things that's going to be very big to see is that if he can play a full healthy season for the New York Jets this upcoming season, it's going to go a long way. So I'm saying to myself, maybe we have some guard issues as well. Well, Fautanu can go play that too. So I really like the idea of getting this kid, bringing him into the building. I don't mean to say kid, young man, bringing him into this building and utilizing his versatility and his skill set. And he's a really good player too. Let me tell you something. He's nasty, man. He gets his hands on you, you're going to have a long day, okay? And, I mean, he can move. And one of the things that I really like about him as well is his ability to move, man. He can really go. He's got some hustle to him, and he gets after it, all right? He's a guy, I'm telling you, he pulls, he can go. He's got it, man. He really has got it. So his lateral quickness is just It's crazy for a man his size, right? So I really like that, and he's done a lot of great things, and I think that would be a good move for the New York Jets. So I want to hear from y'all tonight about this as well. I do have some concerns if we trade down. We know that New Orleans is probably looking for some offensive line help, and the Raiders are probably looking for some offensive line help. But I'm looking at Troy Fontanu, and I'm saying to myself, hey, that's a guy that I think could be a candidate to be a New York Jet, especially if the Jets move down. Heck, there's people starting to talk about, Fontanu being a top 10 pick. If you think I'm lying, you can go look this up. There are draft guys that are starting to talk about that. So we're going to get to it, man. We're going to get to this. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the AFC East as well and what's going on there. So let me get to the callers, man, because I want to start talking to y'all. I can talk all night. Salutes to all the savages in the chat, okay? Salutes to all the savages in the chat, all right? We'll come to y'all in just a second. Listen, please give the stream a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. Also, okay, if you want to give to the channel, the super chat is there. Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. Anything you give to the platform is greatly appreciated. Also, keep in mind when you call in, please make sure you have a good phone line. Don't call in, okay, when you're on your jackhammer. Put the jackhammer down, go down the street, and talk to your boy, all right? Don't call me from a phone that you found in a Home Depot dumpster, okay? And for those of y'all that are new, the only rule that I have on my show pretty much is do not curse, okay? Don't curse on my show because that gets you out of here fast. I'm talking fast, all right? Faster than we got Jamal Adams out of here. Oh! That was fast. Did y'all see that man on Twitter start to try to beg, like basically beg people to try to back him coming back to the New York Jets? Oh, I would love to see us. I would love to come back and help us in that, playoff drought. Yeah. Whatever, man. Whatever, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Hey, Omar, we just lost Omar. I was going to go to Omar. Omar, call back in. We'll get to you. Caller we're going to go to, though. We're going to go to Rusty. Rusty, we're coming directly to you, 845-813-609. All the callers, I see y'all. I will come to y'all in a second. We've got to have this discussion. Listen, for those of you that do not know, okay, this man, Rusty, he's a savage.
Salutes, Joe, and salutes, fellow savages.
What's going on, Rusty? Listen, man, we having this discussion tonight, and I want to talk to you about it. The first thing I want to start off with you about, though, is Ashtyn Davis. He's back in the building. Give me your thoughts about the New York Jets re-signing Ashtyn Davis, man. How do you feel about it?
I'm cool with it as long as he doesn't start. Honestly, I like him. He's awesome for us on special teams. I think he's ranked top 5 or something like that on all special teams players in the NFL. And then I think he's inside the top 3 all special teams, too, with some kind of other stat. But he's awesome for special teams. And he's getting a lot better than when he first started with us, that's for sure. I'm just, I like to see the other guys starting in there and, plug and play him in and stuff like that. Don't make him, Mr. 100% reliable in that thing because safety is definitely needed. And, JD definitely, got the Imodium, so it was good. I like when I'm called out on that one, especially by JD, so it's good.
Yeah, so when you look at the situation now, right, at our safety position with Ashtyn Davis into the building, do you think the Jets will stop there, or do you want to see them go out and get another safety? Is there a guy that you maybe have in mind in free agency?
Not in free agency, definitely in the draft, though.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe later rounds or hopefully, I pray to God, that we trade back, man. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those guys I hope we can actually do it twice somehow in the first, while still staying in the first and grab somebody. But, yeah, I'm a big fan of that kid Cole Bishop from Utah. I like him.
Okay.
He's smart. He's a ball hawk. And he can lay the wood. And then a couple of other guys. What's his name? Jaden Hicks, I think that's his name is. The kid out of Washington State. Yeah, that kid brings it too. So, and then there's a couple other ones, but I'm all up for, grooming a safety, because apparently, we can do that. So the only thing we can't do is groom quarterbacks, but, we'll just buy them.
Well, look, we'll figure that out in the future. Of course, we got A-Rod in the building. Now, you talked about trading down, and that's really where I want to go next with you, because I've been going back and forth with a lot of people. Everyone knows I'm a big proponent of grabbing some offensive linemen in this upcoming draft. But
same here.
The idea of trading down, gaining some capital, especially if you can get a second rounder or something that you can pair with maybe a third round or a fourth round pick to move back up to the second round, I think becomes very intriguing for me. Now, a guy that I'd like to see the New York Jets target is Troy Fautanu from Washington, but you talked about trading down, right? So where exactly would you like to see, because you said twice, and I know we're going to have this discussion, but where exactly are you looking to trade down from 10 down to? Like, where are you trying to go?
Well, I just hope that there's going to be some kind of another thing on a quarterback, or I don't know, and sort of beat either the Raiders, hopefully, with their number 12 pick into getting some things, or maybe even Denver, move up to 12 or move down to 12. Sorry about that. And then possibly make a deal with the Rams. They always like trading, and they just throw all their picks. Or the highest I would go would be like Dallas or something like that. At what, 25, I think they are? Or 24.
Oh, so you're willing to move down from 10 to 25?
Yeah. I mean, this dude, there is some really good kids for offensive tackle, offensive line, and stuff like that. And in the first, there's probably going to be 7 of them gone. So, it's you're going to have to grab, that you're going to have to grab one in the first, absolutely, and then hopefully have them sit behind the guys.
Yeah, hold on a second, because this is very intriguing. So you're moving down from 10 to, you're saying, let's say 13, right, where you're talking about with the Raiders. What kind of compensation are you looking to get? Like, what's the minimum amount of compensation that you would look to gain moving down from 10 to 13?
Depending on what they're doing, I would definitely like to grab a third round. Or if, it's some kind of quarterback and that they know that someone's going to jump them, bait the hook and make them, rush in and throw more at there and grab a second round. That would be beautiful, instead of having to combine picks to jump back into the second sort of deal. You know what I mean? That's why I was sort of looking to trade back twice instead of jumping to like 19 with the Rams.
Okay, so you're going down, let's say, because I think maybe a fourth rounder, maybe a third rounder, you might get that. So you're moving down from 13 to, you said 25, right? That's what you said earlier.
At the most.
Okay. So let's say you're going down to 25. What exactly do you think we can get from going down 13 to 25?
I think that we could probably get somewhere either a late second, hopefully, or definitely grab a third and a fourth in there. Maybe someone will sprinkle in a sixth. Because there's going to be people jumping all over the place for different types of wide receivers and stuff like that, to where I like the wide receivers in the second, third, and even fourth round in McCaffrey. I like Leggett. I like not Devontae Walker. Is it Devontae Walker? I know it's the kid from UNC.
I know Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin is and I think he's visiting with the Jets. So we got some guys who are going to be visiting with the Jets very soon. I think he either had a visit or has one coming up soon. But Troy Franklin from Oregon, I know a lot of people are talking about him. 6'2", he can move. But there's some guys at the top of that second, like you said, those wide receivers that are very intriguing. But I want to stick with this first round with you, because we're talking about gaining capital. So you're moving down from 13 to 25. You're gaining probably maybe a third and a fourth or something like that. So at 25, who are you targeting? Who's your target there at that point?
My target is, if we're going left tackles or something like that, I like Jordan Morgan. A lot of people sleeping on him. Okay. But either him or Graham Barton. Graham Barton can play all three, basically all 5 positions: right tackle, left tackle, right guard, left guard, and center. The guy can literally play it all. But what about, I really think Jordan Morgan's going to be a really solid left tackle.
Okay, let's say Jordan Morgan is not there. What about a guy like, or Barton? Let's say they're gone. What about a guy like Tyler Guyton? What are your thoughts about him? There's a lot of people that like him and like what he brings to the table. That dude is massive. I think he's like 6'8". I think he is like 6'8" or 6'9", something like that.
He's a big dude.
He is massive, dude. He's a big dude. A lot of people talk about him. What are your thoughts about him, man?
I mean, I just don't trust our field, and then how we've been having like behemoth mammoths. You know, I love Becton.
Mm-hmm.
Thinks that he's, you know, hopefully we might actually get him back. You know, we never know about
yeah, he's
that.
Still out
just
there.
Keep him as depth,
Mm-hmm.
but it just worries me in that sense. To where, you know, so a lot of those guys' legs they go. You know, especially with a horrible turf, and then you have linemen and other types of guys falling back and, you know, taking out knees and things like that. And we're already thin that line, even though it looks good right now on paper. We have a lot of guys that are on 1 year, 2 year contracts, guys that got injured, you know, no fault of their own. Has to do with our field and just, you know, the unlucky draw in hand that we've had at O-line for the past 5 years. You know?
Yeah.
So
no, listen.
Unfortunately,
I hear you. I'm hoping that they figure out the deal with that field. We all talk about wanting grass. I don't know if Woody's ever going to do it, but man, they definitely need to put some grass down, dude. Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I've already got enough smoke on my plate. All right, because I want to go somewhere else. I've been battling with the Bowers boys like none other. Okay, and I don't want the problems, Rusty. I don't. They bring them to my doorstep. So it's like if you're going to bring it to my doorstep, I'm going to open the door and come out and meet you. Yeah, you know
absolutely. Kick them off the front porch. Be like, go on, get. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I can't stand those Bowers boys.
Yeah, like you keep knocking on my door. Now, my question for you, Rusty, is what do you say to people that believe that taking an offensive lineman in this upcoming draft is idiotic because that offensive lineman, whether it be a tackle or guard, more than likely is not going to be a starter, and that you need an impact player, a weapon today? What do you say to people that think that?
They got to put that pipe down and quit smoking whatever that's in it, because they're not watching college football, and then they like to say this stuff, and then all of a sudden when the season comes around, week 5, and something happens, they're like, oh, and then they don't even realize that Bowers isn't even, I don't know, they go by like all these weird Madden spreadsheets. When you actually watch college football, he's not the true best tight end, and they're trying to call him a generational tight end. He isn't. Newsflash, just to let you know, he really isn't. Lackey, that kid from Iowa, he's 10 times better, and he's coming out in next year's draft to when we should draft a tight end. And then, you know, he's not even the best guy on his team on Georgia. What's his name? Olgan or whatever the other tight end is. He's better. He's a true tight end. Bauer, the Bauer boy, he's B-O-I, by the way. That Bauer boy, he ain't. he isn't even a true tight end. You know, he really isn't.
Okay.
So,
listen,
yeah, those Bulldogs, you know, they be fronting.
Yeah. Listen, I'm an SD guy. I don't want no smoke with the Bulldog boys.
I do.
I'm just saying.
I do. I have no problem with it. I'm the Ohio State. I'll smack them around. We just got
listen,
the refs got up.
Those boys from the Big O, they want problems with you. Send that to Rusty. I already have enough problems with y'all at my doorstep as is. I just want a lineman. That's all I'm saying at this point. So listen, Rusty.
I want 2.
I hear you. Before I let you go, man, because we're
I'd like
having
to grab
back
a
and
BB
forth.
too.
There's a lot of talk about doing that. Now, we looking at this situation, right? And I'm saying to myself, okay, if the Jets were to, get that second round pick, right, or we package some picks to move back up into the second round, let's say we address offensive line in the first, what are you looking at in the second? Because you just said, hey, you're looking to grab another offensive lineman. Are you going wide receiver? Is there somewhere else that you're going? Like, what exactly are you doing there?
I'm going right back to the wall inside the trenches to grab me another fatty. I'd really, really want to. I'd hope we get BB, because then you can plug and play him anywhere too as well. And he's a freaking maniac. So, or what's his name, Zach Zinter, or one of those types of guys, or even later on, get like a Van Pran, because you don't know what, because you could always move Tippmann around too. So we do have options. And if we get like our mammoths up there, because our field, unfortunately, is probably going to claim like it always does. So, and you got to protect Rodgers. So if we can grab one of those guys and not have them play week 1, but instead, jump in and hopefully, week 10 and then come back out in, week 13 or something like that and have one of our guys back. Now all of a sudden they have something under their belt and we can just hit it home for the playoffs and, God willing, Super Bowl. Same thing with playoffs, I should say, as well. And just keep that moving because we need a line, man. Like, honestly, people just like to brush that over. And that's the most important thing. Look how our defense is just with our front, That makes everything else better. Imagine if we had a solid offensive line with backups. It would be incredible. You're not passing go and you're not collecting $500 anymore, You're going straight to jail and Jets are going to smother you.
Listen, that's my big thing. Now, before I let you go, Rusty, you got the Bills getting rid of Stephon Diggs. They moved on. They sent him to the Texans. We know that. The Bills got a 2025 second-round pick, also a 2025 fifth-rounder, and the Texans got Diggs and a 2024 sixth-rounder, from the Bills. What are your thoughts about that trade? And what are your thoughts about the outlook on the AFC East at this point? There's a lot of people saying right now, I believe it was Baldy saying, as of right now, his favorite to win the AFC East is the New York Jets. What are your thoughts on the trade, and what are your thoughts on that, man? I'll give you the final word.
On paper, I'm definitely agreeing with that. We should be, God willing, what's going on with our, offensive line. That's why I just want us to back it up in the draft. So, I wholeheartedly, I guess, is a good word or better word, choice of words. But as far as the Barfalo miserable, that's so great. Oh, man. And it's awesome, too, because people want to put Allen on this pedestal. And he's just been depleting. And it's great. He's just going to go back to throwing interceptions and being a dummy like he was and now he is. And, the mask is going to be revealed, and that's really what's going to happen. It's glorious.
Listen, Rusty,
oh, man, it's great. They collapsed, man. They're collapsing. It's beautiful.
Listen,
that's why they're the Barfalo miserables.
Rusty, let me be known. Listen, Rusty.
Great.
I got to slide off. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? My friend, it was a great call.
Absolutely, Joe. Salute to you and salute to fellow savages. Let's go, Jets, and do this draft smartly, please.
Yes, man. Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, the number is 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. The Jets have some incoming visits, okay? We know that they're definitely bringing folks in to, kind of feel them out. Nabers is going to be into the building, Malik Nabers. Michael Pratt as well, quarterback, is going to be in. Jordan Morgan is going to be coming in soon. Palmer as well, wide receiver, is going to be, being brought in for a second. Troy Fontanu as well. I believe Troy Fontanu is going to come in April 17th. That's what, according to sources, he's going to be in the building. Then Tez Walker as well. And as well, again, Troy Franklin. Again, a lot of these things are moving and shaking right now, but those are, the visits that have been announced currently by the Jets. All right. So we're going to see, there's a lot of people coming in, a lot of talk, a lot of moving and shaking. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the New York Jets handle the draft. We're going to get back to these lines again. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Listen, salutes to the Savages, okay? Christopher Phillips in the building says, I'm in the building. All offensive linemen or proponents of trading down in the draft need to sit their keisters down. We all the way up like Fat Joe and Remy Ma. I mean, I hear you, Chris. All right, look, I started to talk about trading down myself. You gather some capital, it can do big things for the New York Jets. So we'll keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in and taking our callers. Next, we're going to Ted. Ted, we're coming directly to you. Justin, I see you. We'll come to you in a second, as well as Mike. I see y'all, all right? But we got to get to Ted. He's on the line. For those of you that do not know, Ted, he's a savage. Ted, salutes. Always good to talk to you, man. Listen, we got some things moving. What's going on, man? Look, we're sitting here right now. Ashtyn Davis has been re-signed by the New York Jets. I'm looking at the safety position, and I'm going, there's some things that I'd like to see added. But what are your thoughts on the re-signing, and are you set with how the safety position is right now? Would you like to see the New York Jets go out and do more and grab something else and bring it in here to continue to upgrade the safety position?
I think we can address that later on the draft show. First of all, good evening, and I wasn't sure if I should call the private line on the Cali line or the Iowa call first. So listen, I took my chances on the 5151. So
you're free to bash Block Talk. For those of y'all that don't, you're free to bash Block Talk. Right? You're free. I've already gotten messages from people that say, Joe, I'm about to bash Block Talk left and right. Listen, it's working tonight. I'm excited that Block Talk has shown up and done its job. Okay, here we are. But go ahead, Zed.
I think we can address that, Joe, later in the rounds. Maybe 4 or 5. I wouldn't make that a high priority. But one position I would make a high priority, and I do want to trade down similar to Rusty. I'm not sure if I want to go down to 25, but I would go down 15 to 20 range, and I would insist on a second rounder because in the second round, I'd either want a receiver or, personally, I would like to get Chris Jenkins Jr. from Michigan as a run stopper.
Okay.
He's a beast of a I'm walking my dog here, sorry. He's a very, very good middle rusher and run stopper.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
let's do this. Let's separate this. I want to start with your first round take though. So if you're moving down, right? You said you want to move down to like 15 or something like that. Who is the player that you're looking to target then?
At 15, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be a receiver. It would be a lineman. I was hoping for Fatanu, but it sounds like he's getting a little hot in terms of draft positioning in Washington. Guyton's getting calls for top 10 and 12 too. Somebody has to. I think what's going to happen, Joe, is a lot of these linemen are so evenly matched that we're going to find 2 or 3 linemen that we can be happy with, and I think we'll be able to go down to like 20. That's what I'm thinking. Same as receivers. I think we're going to find 2 or 3 guys that we'd be comfortable with in the second or third round, and just see where we can maneuver in the draft because it's so deep.
Okay. So now in your second round, right? You're talking about taking an interior D lineman, Chris Jenkins Jr. And I get it, but can you really afford to do that with the need? Because if you're taking an offensive lineman in the first round, I'm looking at the wide receiver position, and I'm like, man, I would like to add someone else there, especially again with the uncertainty of Allen Lazard. Mike Williams is not going to be ready. He's already talked about it until like basically week 1. So I would like to add another piece there, especially again with, Aaron Rodgers is going to be here at least 1, maybe 2 more years. I want to add another piece to pair with Garrett Wilson, another young guy, fresh set of legs. I'd like to do that. And I feel like there's bigger needs outside of the linemen, but you'd like to grab Jenkins Jr. What exactly, is he – do you think he's that much of a game changer to take him over the needs that we have on this football team, the other, drastic needs we have here?
Well, he's one of my options. I would love to get Ladd McConkey, but I think that's the kind of guy you're going to need to get back in the first round for. But, Joe, once our defensive lineman went down, we were exposed in the running game. Quinnen – we need another playmaker in the middle. We need another playmaker in the middle to go with Quinn to disrupt the middle of the field. I can see a third rounder, like you said, a third round receiver, or you can trade back into the second. If you find somebody you like the kid from Polk is the kid from Washington, Jalen Polk, I think his name is. Joe, there's so much depth. If you find somebody you love in the second round, then maybe you can take a lineman in the third. But we have to address the running position, Joe, defensive line, because if we go plug and play somebody and they get hurt again, we're going to be in the same position. You know what I mean? We need a young player in the middle of the field.
Listen,
and he's not just a run stopper either. The guy can pass rush too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, listen, I hear you. And I mean, the New York Jets definitely, worked to address this defensive line position. I know we brought back Hector, and Tanzil Smart also as well is another guy that I think really is going to have a chance to do some things this season. He's always been a guy that's either been fringe roster or making the roster, and now especially with some of the other guys that, we moved on from, Al Woods, who is not back, and even Quentin Jefferson, who I thought the Jets were going to bring back, but they didn't either. But we were able to get, Fotu and Kinlaw as well in the building. So I understand, looking at the defensive line position and saying, hey, I'd like to pair someone else with Quentin Williams. But I personally think would be all right there. Honestly, if you're looking to go defensive lineman, or if you're looking to address something else on the defense that could need some work, I would look at the situation. I would say, hey, why not look at inside linebacker if you're going to do that? Because there's no one behind C.J. Mosley.
So, Joe, I'm there too, Joe, with you on that one.
There's nobody behind him whatsoever. If he goes today, the New York Jets are going to have a big issue filling in that inside linebacker slot. There's no one, and I hope, again, knock on wood, I don't want to see him go down and get hurt, but, man, there's no one there. And, again, we're going to see if Sherwood is going to be able to, secure that other linebacker spot he's going to bring to the table. But that's a big question, too. But I'm looking, man, wide receiver with so many guys that could be there again. I would like to take one of those guys. Now, my question for you, though, Ted, is when we look at this situation, there's a lot of Jets fans, there's rumblings about Joe Douglas looking to make a splash move. A lot of Jets fans want to see that. There's a lot of Jets fans talking about that Joe Douglas should trade up to draft Alt, right? A lot of people looking at, hey, maybe the Jets trade from 10 to somewhere around 5 or 4 and grab him. What are your thoughts on that, man? Do you think that's something that Joe Douglas should explore and do, especially, again, with the seat being so hot? A lot of Jets fans saying, listen, if you need to nail a pick, if you want an offensive lineman, move up, spend the capital, and draft the best guy. What are your thoughts about that?
I would never do that, because let me say this, Joe. You have other positions you need to fill through the draft. And I know it's all in, but, I mean, spend a lot of capital to move up to 5. Or, I mean, if he slides to 8, maybe, maybe you could go and throw a third-rounder in to get moved down 2 spots. But, hey, Joe, if you get a chance, go. There was a video by Mike Martz. He was the offensive coordinator for the Rams in the, the Greatest Show on Turf. Mm-hmm. He did an evaluation of the offensive lineman. He said he didn't like Joe Alt as a prospect because he's too high and he's very stiff, and his base isn't very stable. He gets off balance a lot. He skates a little bit. So there's some people that don't, I wouldn't say don't like him, but there's, you know what I mean? You have to pick
I get it.
Your player. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and this is, I talk to Jets fans about this, and especially when I go back and forth. There's a lot of evaluators, especially when you look at the NFL draft. There's a lot of people that are, well, pretty much every team should be doing that, but they're drafting for their scheme, right? So there's players that may be phenomenal players, but they don't fit their scheme, right? They don't fit whatever scheme that the team's looking at. So why would you take a guy if he's going to come in and not fit? I know that there's a lot of people that love Joe Alt as the complete package, but they talk about how, kind of the length is the issue with him and things like that. I know that there's a lot of people that love Olu Fasanu, love him. They think he's I've talked to some people that think that he is the best tackle in the draft, or at least they think he's the best pass protector in the draft as far as pass pro, that he does it, that he can get it done, and he's very smooth. There's so many, again, there's a lot of different opinions, especially about the top 2, top 3 guys. But I get it. I think Joe Alt is the best complete package, out of the class. But I don't think it's like a massive drop off after him. I don't. At least in the first 3 to 4, the top 3 to 4 guys. I don't think there's a massive drop off from him to Olu and Fuaga. Their games are different clearly, but I think they're still solid prospects, right?
I think so too, Joe. I don't think there's too much of a drop off. That's a reason why I wouldn't really go up and risk spend a lot of capital to get up to 5. I love it, and also JD loves versatile players, right? He loves the guy that can play multiple positions. So it would be out of his character. And you know what's funny, Joe? It was out of his character to draft Mackay, because that's a big hulking left tackle, and he was right the first year, right? And then it kind of fell apart. Unfortunately, that one didn't work out. But I can't see him drafting a massive left tackle like Joe, or even trading up for that. And I just don't see that again. I'd rather see him, I think he's going to play conservative. He loves maneuvering in the draft, and he loves versatile alignment. So I think let's go down. If the Bengals won Brock Bowers, give us your first and a second. The Raiders want to move up for a Bo Nix or Michael Penix or whoever's falling for a quarterback, then you give us your second also, or you give us a third, because that's not too big of a leap. But I'd even go down to 22, Joe. The Eagles may want Brock Bowers too. Let's go to I mean, if you can find 2 or 3 linemen that you really love and you want to settle, not settle, but they're at the same grade and it fits your scheme, like you said, fits your scheme, then maybe, hey, these are the 3 guys like Rusty mentioned. One of them was the Duke guy. I think it was from Duke, one of the linemen. If you have a solid lineman that you think he's going to be in the 20s, and you can get that draft capital going. Oh, Barton, right? Barton, yeah. So I'm a trade down, Joe. I'm not sure about. I originally wanted Bowers. That's a splash. That's a real splash move. But take a lot of balls to pick that guy. But at 10.
Well, let's stick there, because you were big on Bowers. I want to know what exactly. Now, I know you're not necessarily a Bowers boy. You definitely like Bowers, though. So when you look at the situation, right, and taking Bowers, you said, that would take a lot of stones. What exactly, when you look at Bowers and you look at especially the needs of the New York Jets, why are you such a big fan of Bowers and bringing him into the building when you have such massive needs along our offensive line, wide receiver? What do you think that he brings to the Jets that makes him a guy that you got to snatch at 10, or you thought you had to snatch at 10 at one point?
I watched a lot of Georgia football. The guy was constantly, and this is the SEC. Okay, it's a high level. I'm not saying it's the NFL, but the guy was always couldn't be caught. Was always breaking tackles. Can block downfield in the running game. And he's really not a tight end. He's not a true tight end. He's more of a hybrid. When you really think about his build, he's only about 230 or 240. He's kind of slender. So he's not like a massive, he's not like Gronk or anything like that. So I just think the mismatches, Joe. And you know what? He can play the Deebo Samuel position. He can even run out of the backfield. He could be Deebo in our offense. Basically, he can run, catch screens, all that. I mean, you get the ball out of Rodgers' hands. It's as good as a lineman, and he's a mismatch. I don't think linebackers and safeties are really going to cover that guy. I don't see it. I think you need like a corner on him. I really do.
I mean, I've gone back and forth with a lot of people. I hear you. And for the record, I want the record to reflect that I think that Bowers is a good player. I think that Bowers is a very good player. I just don't want to have. I honestly don't want to have anything to do with him, because there is so much of a need along the offensive line. And you just said yourself, if you get the ball out of Rodgers' hands quickly, it's as good as a lineman. Yeah. I don't think people really understand that. Like, if you have, we saw it last year, right? We literally saw this, and this is what I go back and forth with the Bowers boys about, is that we literally saw the whole get the ball out of your hands quickly thing completely fall apart. I believe it was the Jets played the Dolphins. That's when Simeon got his start. And he was getting the ball out of his hands as fast as you could, and the offense was going nowhere because nobody could block.
Right.
Nobody could block. We
fixed the line, though. Joe. We did fix the line.
Well,
you think, right? You would think we did?
I mean, we did. We fixed the line. We did some things. But here's the deal, is that those fixes, right, especially Tyron Smith, major injury histories. This can become unfixed very quickly, very quickly. Let's say Tyron comes out and has another season where he only plays 4 games, like he did like a couple seasons ago. Then what? There's a massive hole there at left tackle. And please, don't tell me that Carter Warren is ready to be the Jets starting left tackle.
That would not be the first name out of my mouth, Joe. That would not be the first name out of my mouth. I can tell you that, Joe. I agree with you on that one.
So it's very concerning to me, especially, and again, I get the weapon stuff. I understand that, right? But my argument against Bowers as well is, listen, I've seen the New York Jets, right, survive injuries to, weapons that we have. A lot of people, the first thing they scream is, well, what's going to happen if Garrett Wilson goes down? I believe that if Garrett Wilson goes down, I hope this never happens. But if he does, if Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy, he can raise the play of all the other players that we have along our offense, right? Our offense is going to adjust, of course. But I think he raises the talent. You look at what he did in Green Bay. I don't think that Valdes-Scantling is like an unbelievable wide receiver. Even, hell, look at Allen Lazard, right? Look at what he's able to do with Allen Lazard. Look at how Allen Lazard looked last year, right? I think that we can continue, right? He can continue to do those things. He can continue to raise the play of guys, right? And it's not like we're dead at the tight end position, right? We got Ruckert. We got, Conklin, Conklin's really good, especially with the bad quarterback play you have. You can utilize Breece Hall as well in the passing game. There's so many adjustments we can make. But if you do not properly protect Aaron Rodgers and get another lineman in here, if he goes down, it's over. Because we've seen it. We've seen it. Oh, baby, we've seen it. Not only have we seen the second you lose Aaron Rodgers, everything else is done. Not only is Aaron Rodgers, the guy that facilitates everything and is the best player on the team, but he's also the best offensive coordinator that we have. Because without Aaron Rodgers, oh, man, Nathaniel Hackett is horrific. He's real bad, and we've seen it. So that's my thing. That's my thing. So that's my argument to get that. But before I let you go, because we've had a great discussion here going back and forth, man, look at this AFC. You look at this AFC situation, AFC East right now. Stephon Diggs is gone. I am saying I believe that the Jets should win the AFC East. I don't think the Patriots are scary at all, right? Mayo, he's in his first year as a head coach. That quarterback situation, they're probably going to be. I know they got Brissett, but he's not the future there. Like they're about to get a dose of reality and what it's like to really be in the NFL now. That one of the greatest head coaches ever is gone, and Brady's been gone. You look at the Dolphins; they've lost some pieces, and I'm looking around. The Bills now lose Stephon Diggs. Now you really got to figure out who Josh Allen is without him and Gabe Davis. And I'm saying to myself, if Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy this year, I think the Jets should take the AFC East. What say you?
Hey, Joe, real quick. I did say I would take Ladd McConkey if not Chris Jenkins. So I'm sure you'd be happy with Ladd McConkey. That guy is a hell of a wide receiver. So I'm down with Ladd McConkey, but I think he may go in the first. That's the only problem. Joe, we should win the division going away if we're healthy. It shouldn't be close. We should split with Buffalo, maybe win both. We should split with Miami, maybe win both. We should beat New England twice. No more of these bogged down games, 7-6, and I mean, we have no excuses, Joe. Our offense should be good for 21, 24, 27 points a game, and our defense is our defense, and they won't be on the field as much. There won't be as much stress on the defense, and we'll play with leads. We have no excuses, Joe. We should win going away. Our division, 11, 12 wins. We should. If not, everyone has to go. Or maybe Douglas stays. But if we win 9 games and go 9-8, Joe, it's over. We can't come back with that. There's no way.
Oh, Ted, I don't even want to talk about
Joe?
that. Listen, no, it's a sad reality, right? I don't want to see it, and that's why I don't want to talk about it. But you're right. If the Jets don't make the playoffs, right, at least, or like you said, if they don't get it done, they're done. They're done. And I don't even think Joe Douglas is going to get saved. I don't. I think it's over. Unless Woody Johnson looks at just barely missing the play. Unless the Jets I'm talking barely miss. Like a game, just barely missed the playoffs. Like we were right there, but something happened. Everybody is fully healthy. Everybody. And this just goes off the rails, which I don't know how it can happen, but it's if it was to happen anywhere, this would be the possibility for it to happen. Man, everybody's gone. Sulla would be gone. Everybody's up out of here. And Joe Douglas.
Hackett would be gone. That might be a good thing.
Oh, man. But Aaron Rodgers will be gone, too.
Well,
Aaron Rodgers will be gone, too.
Joe.
Trust me.
Then we have to find a quarterback, Joe.
Oh, you would. He'd be gone. He would be gone. There's no way I think that Aaron Rodgers stays here with all of the – because that's why he came here, was because of that.
I agree.
He talked about it.
I agree.
So I don't want to discuss that, but that is a reality, Ted, and you brought it to the table, man. You brought it to the table. So
yes, sir.
Before I
let
you go, before I let you slide off and get up out of here, man. You look at this situation, right? We got everything moving and shaking here now. You talked about the playoff situation. You talked about everything that we got going on here. You talked about the first round. Before I let you go, if Bowers and O'Dunes, you got to stay at 10. Bowers and O'Dunes, you're sitting right there with them. Who are you taking?
I'd have to go with Rome. Yeah. I mean, I started
okay,
watching
that's what I'm
games.
talking about.
He's a quality. He's a quality receiver, Joe. I mean, match him up with Garrett.
I knew I could get you out of that Bowers.
Joe,
talk.
Joe.
Yeah.
I think Odunze's going top 5, in my opinion.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe
okay.
Top 6. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? There's a lot of talk, and again, this is rumors swirling. This could just be smoke screen. There's analysts starting to talk about how they think that Rome is the best wide receiver in the draft. There's people talking about that. And look, there's a lot to be argued. Listen, Ted, I got to slide off. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? Absolutely.
Pleasure, Joe, as always.
Now, we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in, all right? Next, we are going to Mike. Mike, we're coming to you. Justin, you'll be next. We're coming directly to you, Justin. I see you. All right, new callers, hold on. But we got to get to Mike, all right? For those of you that do not know, this man, Mike, he's a savage. Mike salutes. We're sitting here. We're talking, man, going back and forth about this upcoming draft. A lot of people are talking about Bowers, man. A lot of people are having discussions about the offensive line situation. If the Jets stay at 10, man, who exactly are you looking to see the New York Jets draft? Who's a player you'd like to see him take?
Well, I like Bowers, but it has to see how the board plays out, right? I'm a component of trading up to number 5, get ahead of the Giants.
Talk to me.
And take Neighbors. I like Neighbors.
Okay, listen. And I hear you, and this is why I was talking about that tonight as well. All right, I tell people, I talk to a lot of Jets fans that are looking, that are thinking, just like you, that are saying, look, I want to move up, I want to grab a player. Now, you're talking about moving up to number 5. What exactly, if you're the New York Jets general manager, what are you willing to give up to get up there?
Well, I heard a lot of people saying that if we traded up, it would cost us a 2025 second-round pick. So I would go with that all day long.
Okay. What if, let's say this, you're moving up to 5, what if San Diego, goodness, I still call the Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers. One day I'm going to get it right. One day, okay? One day. What if Los Angeles says, listen, that second rounder, that's not enough, okay? I want more. You're moving up from 10, right, to 5. There's a chance maybe another quarterback could be there, right? Maybe another team is going to offer. Let's say a guy like Drake May is still around, right? Let's say that there's some moves and shaking. That price is going up, okay? Because we've got to discuss this. Let's say the Chargers say, listen, that second rounder, not enough, okay? There's other teams calling. They want to move up for this quarterback. You're going to have to give us more. We want a first rounder. Are you willing to do that?
No. But it also goes.
You're not willing to give up a first rounder. Okay.
They're going to get our number 10. That'll be the first rounder. They go by the draft board points, and what they were saying was the second round pick for next year would equal that moving up.
Yeah, but again, when you look at a situation where there's a quarterback that could maybe, again, you're sitting right there with the Chargers. Maybe Drake May is still there at 5. I understand the points chart. I get that. But we know that point chart can kind of be put to the side when you talk about quarterbacks. We've seen teams give up massive hauls. I'm talking, look at what the Niners gave up, for Lance. Look, there's other quarterbacks as well that there's been a lot given up for them. But you're saying, okay, if they say first round pick, 2025 first, you're saying no. Okay, that's where you stop. All right. So
I don't think May makes it past the Patriots. I think Patriots are going to take May.
Yeah, more than likely.
At number 4.
More than likely, but there's a chance. There's a chance, especially again. There's a lot of movement, a lot of things moving and shaking. So that you're thinking about moving up to 5. Why not take Alt if you're there though? If he's still available, you're going to take Neighbors over Alt?
Yeah, I think Neighbors is a beast. I think they would do some damage with him, Garrett, and Mike Williams.
Yeah. But what about your future at tackle there? If Alt's still sitting there, dude, that's your future left tackle handed right there to you, especially if you're spending, a second round pick.
No, I like Alt. I think we can go another way. Maybe we can even re-sign Smith. Sign him to another deal after the 1-year deal's up. Maybe we can. I would even bring in like Bakhtiari. I'd bring him in on the veterans minimum and just have him as backup. Just sit on the bench and then give him incentives like $750,000 a year game if he plays. I think he would go for that.
Yeah. No, listen, I hear you, man. I just trading up in period to me is a little. I don't know if Joe Douglas would do it, especially again. We need that capital. I could see them maybe moving some things to get back up in the second round to address wide receiver. But again, Malik is a phenomenal wide receiver. Like him, Harrison, Rome. I think they're all great. But I can't see the Jets moving up, especially again.
That kid Troy
with the need.
That kid Troy Smith too. That kid Troy Smith too.
Yeah, there's some really good players, and again, I know you're a Bowers guy, and I get that, right? But let's say Bowers isn't there, and you're at 10. Who are you looking to take then?
I would go with the left tackle from Washington.
You're talking about Fatanu. So you think you would take him at 10, even if Olu and let's say Olu and Fuaga are there, you're still going to take you would still take Washington there at 10?
Yeah, I think so, because I think he's overall he's better at pass block and the run block together. You know what I'm
saying? Okay. I mean, listen, Mike, he's going to talk his talk. I respect it. These are his takes. Now, as you continue to look at this situation, right, kind of switching over from the draft, we got Ashtyn Davis back in the building, man. What are your thoughts about him in the safety position at this point?
I was hoping they were going to re-sign him because he started to turn a page. Like last year, he actually came around. He's a good backup and special teamer. Started to show some signs. I'm glad they brought him back.
Yeah. Would you like to see the Jets continue to address the safety position? I've been a big proponent of trying to sign a guy in free agency. I like Justin Simmons a lot. I think he's still out there. Or are you set with what we have right now?
Well, they're going to carry 4 safeties. I would go through the draft on that, like a late round safety. I agree with you. We should definitely draft an inside linebacker. We definitely got to get somebody.
Yeah. I think that a little bit later on in the draft, the Jets are going to address that because I think that's a position a lot of people are not talking about. I'm telling you, they're not talking about it. I've been starting to discuss it quite a bit because, again, life after C.J. Mosley isn't going to be as pretty as people are thinking. It's not going to be very pretty, especially when you don't really have an answer there at inside linebacker. So before I let you go, Mike, I'm looking at the AFC East right now, and I'm saying to myself, man, the Jets should take it because I don't think anyone else really is up to snuff as far as us. Our roster, I think, on paper, we look better than everybody else, right? We know that our defense is phenomenal. It's been phenomenal for years. The biggest question mark was our offense. Well, if Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy, can you really question our offense anymore? I mean, I'm saying to myself the Jets should absolutely win the AFC East next year. What are your thoughts on that, man?
On paper, yeah, exactly. Because the Dolphins, they would beat all the like last year. They would beat all the bad teams, and they would lose to all the good teams. They lost a lot of people. Buffalo, they lost a lot. Imagine how bad, because Diggs is a diva. Imagine how bad he was in the locker room for them just to get rid of him. You know,
and they ate a lot of cap cash too.
They did, and like I want to give props to Joe Douglas because he gets an A+ for the off season. You know, I totally trust Joe Douglas, whatever he's going to do, and like he knew his job was on the line, and he could have went like Maccagnan did and spend, you know. But he didn't do that. He went frugal, you know, and he did some really, really smart trades, you know. So I trust Joe.
Yeah.
And if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year, that's on Robert Saleh. I would not get rid of Joe Douglas. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I like Joe Douglas.
Wow.
You know, keep him. He's our first GM that's been good for how long, you know?
So if the Jets don't get it done, you're saying clean out the coaching staff, but you're keeping Joe Douglas moving forward, right?
Yeah, because he's doing his job. He's bringing all the talent in, you know. You got to put some blame on the coaches too, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, Mike, Robert Saleh and all these guys are all hired by Joe Douglas. Robert Saleh was his first coaching selection. That was the guy. He didn't pick Adam Gase. When Joe Douglas got the job, he inherited Adam Gase. Well, he moved on from Adam Gase, you know, got rid of him. And the first guy he pointed out, he said, hey, Robert Saleh, I want you in the building. So if Robert Saleh fails and everything else falls apart because of that, isn't that on Joe Douglas too?
To a degree. I like Robert
Saleh. I'm
just saying. The players, you know, the players are running through a wall for the guy, you know. I think it's going to go good. I think we're going to have a really good year this year. I'm very excited. You know, I think maybe AFC Championship game, maybe Super Bowl.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going there.
Yeah. No, listen, I hear the expectations all day. Listen, Mike, I got to slide off. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, man. You have some solid takes there.
No problem, Joe.
All right, you have a good one. Listen, I know a lot of people talking about wanting to get rid of Joe Douglas or wanting to keep Joe Douglas and get rid of everybody else, but I'm just saying, listen, I'm giving the flip side of the argument here. Robert Saleh stinks, then Joe Douglas and his decision to hire Robert Saleh stinks too. And, I mean, are we not going to talk about old Zach Wilson? Because to this point, he ain't been that good, you know what I'm saying? And Joe Douglas was the guy that made that selection too. You know, I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying there's some questions there. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. I see you in the building. Bree, I see you. Bree says Diggs leaving the division wide open. Yeah, listen, the Bills have lost some pieces, okay? Let's not even talk about Tre'Davious White. They've lost some other guys too, all right? I'm telling you, I think the Jets are poised to take this division. They truly are. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-969. 515-602-969 is the number. Call in next. I'm going to Justin. I'm coming straight to Justin. I know he's got some smoke, and I want to hear it. Justin, salutes. Welcome to the show. I know you want to talk that talk. First off, I want to start with Ashtyn Davis, okay? Ashtyn Davis has been re-signed by the New York Jets. Give me your thoughts on him being brought back and the condition of the New York Jets safety position.
I don't think people realize how good of a signing this was. One, we lost Justin Hardy, a special teams, not only a leader, but a special teams demon. Ashtyn Davis, I don't think people realize how this guy develops as the years goes on. I mean, years ago, everyone was like, all right, let's cut this guy. He's a bust. And, you know, last year he developed and had a great year. And I think with the addition of Haason Reddick and revamped pass rush, this guy has the potential to be even better than he was last year. And I saw a stat that he had the ball always seems to find Ashtyn Davis. So I think this was more of I think this was an excellent signing. And to be honest, I've been pounding the table all offseason to get Ashtyn Davis back. I didn't think Justin Simmons was a realistic possibility just because how we value the safety position. So, yeah, I think Ashtyn Davis is a great signing to have back, to be honest, especially with Chuck Clark coming off a major injury. And, you know, stuff like that. But I still think, we can address it in the draft now, and now it doesn't pigeonhole us into, get going must having the safety, but we still have the flexibility to take a safety in the later rounds, which that's the route I would go. So yeah, I like the move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I know you're talking a little bit about the draft, because I thought bringing back Ashtyn Davis was a solid move for the Jets. Again, we'll see as things play out. I'm hoping they do something else, especially again with there's so many questions about Chuck Clark and that ACL injury.
Sure.
But you started to talk about the draft. Now, Justin, when you're right now, the New York Jets are sitting at 10. Who's the guy you're eyeing for the Jets to take? Who's the guy that you covered the most there that could be there at 10 to come in and help the New York Jets?
I'm right in your wheelhouse. I've been arguing with people. See, here's the thing that people just don't understand. They don't understand the salary cap and how it works. They don't understand how free agency works. They don't understand how moves are supposed to be made in free agency, which, okay, cool, you don't understand it. But to sit here, they just want the sexy weapon, whether it be Brock Bowers, which, oh, my God, don't even get me going with that, because I've been arguing with people for months. Our tight end room is not an issue to me. Tyler Conklin had 600 yards last year, but, you're not allowed to say anything about him with terrible quarterback play, which with Rodgers, I think he'll be elevated even more. Rucker, we obviously, we see what he can do with the blocking, but I still think he can give you more with the receiving game. Cool. But to sit here and take a tight end at 10 or a weapon, no, because the percentages are already showed you. The guys that we signed on the offensive line, we have no depth. So these people sitting here, well, the guy might not start. Well, if I'm playing the game, those guys, Morgan Moses coming off a major injury on a 1-year deal. Tyron Smith, yes, he signed a great contract with us, but it's only for 1 year. So do you want to be in the same position as next year arguing about the offensive line? So, no, it's obvious to me. If I'm Joe Douglas, I'm taking an offensive lineman at 10, no questions asked. Ideally, you trade back, you recoup a second-rounder, or depending on how far you go back, a third-rounder, ideally a second, so you can get a receiver and address it that way. But these people just want the sexy item. I get it. Cool, but no, the offensive lineman should be the pick at 10, whether it be I'm in your boat, Fountaino, he's the guy because he's basically a better version of AVT. Yes, we love AVT, but to be honest with you, we don't even know what AVT is going to be coming off of 2 major injuries back-to-back years. So the depth on the offensive line, that's the only thing that's really concerning me on this team right now. So I'm taking offensive lineman at 10, or if we're going to trade back or whatever, but offensive lineman still should be the pick. I get it, receiver, the sexy toy, but these are going to be the same people in our fan base that are going to be complaining, we had to see Newman snapping the ball. We had to see Glazer last year. I mean, come on, what are we doing? Play the percentages. And these people are also saying, the guy's not going to, because the same thing with Will McDonald. He wasn't a day one impact guy. Well, guess what? Day one impact, there's no reason why. It doesn't mean necessarily the guy's not going to start. If you take, let's just say, a Fulaga, and he beats out Morgan Moses on the right side, well, guess what? That's good, because Morgan Moses is only making $5.5 million. That's not even backup money. So these people don't really understand what Joe Douglas really did in bringing in John Simpson and Morgan Moses. Not only did he bring them in to have experience, these guys, but these guys are also on cheap contracts. So cheap labor is good. So that's what we need to do. Also, with the Haason Reddick addition, we're going to have to pinch money if we're going to give him an extension. Right now, we don't know what the holdup is with that, because they're obviously crunching the numbers. But with the Haason Reddick, we're going to have to get guys on cheap contracts. So these people saying, we're going to have to get an offensive lineman. There's only so much money to shell out, and what better thing to do to get a lineman in the first round on a cheap contract?
Yeah, and listen, I'll even add, because you're on fire right now, Justin. But I'll even add that a lot of people that are saying, hey, it's not a day one starter, he's sitting on the bench. It's like, wait, hold on. Like you said, listen, Tyron Smith, there's no guarantee he's going to play a full season. I highly doubt that he will. I think he's definitely going to miss some games this year. And guess what?
And the thing
that's
that people
where you
don't
plug
realize
in that
either
young tackle.
And the thing that people don't realize is, too, we're penciling. The guy hasn't been healthy for a 17-game season. So guess what? if we're going to be the team we really think we're going to be, guess what? We're not going to be playing 17 games. We're going to be playing 19, 20 games, hopefully, if we're bringing home a Lombardi trophy. But that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Not to play 17 games and get bounced one and done in the playoffs. No, we're trying to bring home a ring. Like, I don't understand those people with that philosophy. So, to me, the pick in the first round is offensive line, like, without a doubt.
Listen, Justin calling in with some fire tonight. Let's give him a hand. Yeah, give him a hand. Not too much. I don't pay y'all to go too crazy, but we definitely have to respect Justin on that take. Now, you're talking about drafting offensive line, and I'm right there with you, Justin. I'm right there with you. I think we need to do it, especially with, Aaron Rodgers coming off of that Achilles injury. I don't want to see him, come off the field or get injured again, so I want him to be properly protected. There's a lot of Jets fans screaming, listen, if we're going to take an offensive lineman, let's trade up for Alt. Let's make it happen right now. Let's make that big splash trade and really cement, this tackle position with the best tackle in the draft, right? What are your thoughts about that, Justin? Would you want to see Joe Douglas make a big splash trade, try to move up maybe to 5 and grab Alt? Is that something you'd like to see Joe Douglas make happen?
To be honest with you, I think we should remove the word splash, because once we start about splash, things get tricky. I like smart decisions, not splash moves. Trading up to 5, I'm trying to add draft capital. So trading up to 5, I think, would cost too much draft capital. So I'm not giving up no future second rounder or something like that. I mean, maybe I'm not doing it to get up to 5. But if you can tell me you give up a 4th rounder or 2 4ths or something like that this year, okay, cool, I'm interested. But I'm not doing it for no future second rounder, 3rd, depending on what quarterbacks are on the board. Because I know the last caller, he said something about the draft card. That goes out the window. Like you're saying, you gotta put a wrench in it when it's the sweetener there. So I mean, I don't think 5 is honestly realistic. Now, if you want to go up to 8, okay, now we can have a conversation. But 5, nah, I'm good on that. If that's going to cost too much. But I definitely think we need to add a weapon here. Whether it be now talking about trading up, I'm more interested in recouping if we go to 4. Like, see, here's the problem with us right now. Like you said, the Saints are at 14, so that's kind of like, I heard the first call, I think it was, he wants to go back to 25 and 22. Yeah, nah, I'm good on that. Yeah, that's just nonsense. I'm not missing out on one of those top guys, whether it be Fashanu or, if I don't know how Lake or Fulaga, one of those guys. Nah, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. But if you want to go back to, like, 13 ideally, and hopefully you have, like, a team that wants to go out for Michael Penix and you could get a second rounder, that's the ideal right there. Then it's like a win-win. Because then you get the second rounder, and then you see who's there. But, I mean, if you have to, you got to give up package and try to maybe, if you can't get the second rounder, maybe you just get a 3rd. Maybe you take the 2 3rds and go up into the second and then get your weapon, something like that. That's what I'm interested in. But, I mean, if you come out of the draft and then maybe 3rd rounder, you go like whoever's there, like the UConn guy, I think, what's his name, Christian Hayes or someone like that. There's no reason why we can't come in with and get 2 linemen. I know people are saying, 1 lineman is good enough. No, 1 lineman in this deep class is not good enough. I need at least 2 linemen in this year's draft. So, I mean, now you ideally talked about Ricky Pearsall in the second round or something, a weapon like that. That's I know we can bring in the guy from North Carolina, I think it is, Tez Walker, someone like that. Leggett, obviously, I'd be interested in him, but I don't know if he would. I think he's going to be early second rounder, so I don't know how far we would go up. But those are some of the guys that I'm interested in. But like you're saying with the C.J. Mosley thing, I don't think people realize like we don't have any depth at the linebacker position. I get it, Zaire Barnes, cool, whatever. But I think another position we need to address possibly is maybe cornerback too, because we don't know what's going to happen with DJ Reed or Michael Carter extension. No, that's a kind of sneaky need for me that no one's talking about. So I mean, I would still add another. I think we definitely need another running back because I think we're going to be a run-first team, and I think you want to keep Brees fresh for the playoffs. I'm still cool with Izzy, but, he's an unknown right now. So, I think we need to add another running back in there. Right.
Yeah, I understand people talking about adding another veteran guy. I know there's a lot of people that have been having that discussion. I think Izzy would be good, but you got to give the kid the ball. At some point, he's got to start running it. And honestly, when we did give him the ball, he showed some promise. He can go.
Yeah,
he can run. Yeah. But our offensive line was cheeks last year, and they could barely open any holes. So it's I think with a better offensive line, I think we can really see Izzy take the next step. So I think that giving him the ball behind Brees, I think would be a good move. But I would not be surprised if they did add maybe a veteran back to the guys that are out there. Now, listen, Justin, this has been a phenomenal call from you. But before I let you go, I want to get your thoughts on this, man. I've been saying all night, I think that this is the year that the New York Jets take the AFC East. I'm not scared of the Patriots. The Bills, we see no Gabe Davis, no Stephon Diggs. I don't know if I'm, as necessarily as scared of Josh Allen as I was, when he was really starting to turn up. And then you look at the Dolphins, they lost a lot of pieces as well. What are your thoughts, man? Do you think that the Jets will take the AFC East this season?
All right, let me take the cookies out of the oven. Let me blow. I think there's starting to be smoke on the fire alarm. People just don't understand how what Joe Douglas has done here. I think people are finally starting to come around for the Jets for the division. To be honest with you, my dad's a Bills fan, so I follow every move that the Bills make. The Bills are not scary, and I say this even before the Stephon Diggs. We had the Bills number, even before the Stephon Diggs. So now without Stephon Diggs,
I don't know about that.
There is no reason the Jets should not win the division this year, period. Injuries are the only thing stopping us, and ourselves is the only thing that are stopping us. The Jets should win the division, period, this year. And it's we should be hosting a home playoff game. If this defense is top 3 defense last year with the abysmal offensive line that we had, the abysmal quarterback play that we had, come on. If you can't win the division this year, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know when it's going to happen. If we can't end the playoff drought, then I might as well just get into pottery or whatever and stop watching the team, because if we can't do it this year, Joe, I don't know what to tell you. And another thing that people don't realize, Thomas Morstead and Greg Zuerlein was an excellent re-sign because, one, if that's how the defense played last year, could you imagine when when the offense is actually getting first downs and moving the chains and the defense is actually fresh and we're getting maybe 1 or 2 first downs and it's a punt? Okay, cool. Before defense comes out 3 and out, defense comes out. So I was arguing with people months ago, even before the Reddick thing. They were telling me, the defense is going to regress. I was like, the defense is going to regress. Now, and then on top of it, we add Kinlaw, we add Reddick. Come on. This team is loaded. There's no reason why this division cannot be ours, period.
Yeah. Listen, Justin, this has been a phenomenal call from you. I got to slide off because I got other callers. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. You have a good one. Listen, Justin called in with some fire. Man. He talked that talk. Listen, salute to everybody again. Please give the stream a thumbs up. All right? Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. Also, if you want to give to the platform, Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. Super Chat is at the top of the screen. Anything you give is greatly appreciated. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. I see y'all. Dane O, salutes to you. He says, agreed. At 10, something beautiful will fall to us. Something we want or something that someone else wants. He's talking that talk. Michael Piper as well, salutes to you. Michael says, Breece Hall will have 2,000 yards this year. Pick him up on fantasy football. Listen, let me tell you something. The New York Jets, I understand that people think that we're about to turn into the Saints. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the New York Jets will finally be able to get back to running the football effectively. Okay? That's when we're at our best. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers, and he doesn't have to be, right? He doesn't have to be Drew Brees or Peyton Manning in his prime or Steve Young or Joe Montana. He doesn't have to be any of those guys. Aaron Rodgers just has to be solid, all right? He doesn't even have to be 25-year-old Aaron Rodgers. All he has to be is solid, which I know he can be, which I know he is. And the New York Jets are going to roll people this year because that defense, oh my God. Listen, let me tell y'all something. If you think that the defense is a joke, oh, boy, you're going to be the only one laughing. The Jets' defense is serious business, and they're going to destroy people. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. This defense is unbelievable and has been unbelievable, right? For some years now, has been unbelievable. We'll get back to these lines. Listen, 515-602-9669. 515-602-9669 is the number. Call and salute the Phenom as well in the chat. I see you, Dakota J. Salutes to you. Next, we're going to Chris, man. I know Chris has some takes. Val will come to. Oh, we just lost Val. Hopefully Val calls back. We know we need the shenanigans, but we're going to Chris. We're going to Chris, all right? Listen, for those of you that do not know Chris, he's a savage. Chris salutes.
You know what I'm calling though. You know what I mean? You know. Everybody in the chat know how I feel about this. You know how I feel.
Can we start? Hold on. Before we even go there, can we just be a little civil? Let's start with Ashton Davis first. I don't even want to go into. Ashton Davis is back. He's a New York Jet, right? He's been re-signed. Yeah. What are your thoughts about it, man?
I think it's great for special teams. Could do some, but I still want them to find a way to get Justin Simmons on this team or Michael Hyde. I still want a bona fide safety that can read the defense, that could do. But I mean, Ashton Davis is a good guy. He can spot. We don't know what's going on with Chuck Clark's injury. We don't know if he's going to come back 100%. But I like to get somebody in there that's wants to, that's seasoned, guy maybe take a little bit contract again, a chance to compete at the Super Bowl level. I think that's where we're at right now. I think we can convince some guys to come on some incentive-laden contracts to make a Super Bowl run for 1 year. I think we can do that. I think we have the ability to make that call now. So,
yeah. Now, okay, now that we've been civil, I want to go straight to the draft talk with you. Now, there's been a lot of discussions about taking an offensive lineman. I'm a big proponent of that as well, especially if the New York Jets sitting at 10. I think you're a guy that wants to see – you talked about, trading up and stuff like that. There's been a lot of Jets fans talking about trading up for alt. What are your thoughts about that, man? Is that something you want to see the New York Jets do?
I want to address this guy that just called, Justin, what's his name is?
Yeah, great call. Great call.
Okay, all right, great call. All right, but I think you don't, like I said, that with people that we don't have so much money. The cap can be manipulated, okay? There can be extensions. When you get a certain contract, you get a certain amount of guaranteed money. That money can be pushed into other years, right, in order to make more cap room this year. And here's why that needs to happen, okay? And this is and I'm gonna tell you like this before I answer that question. For a lot of us Jet fans, and this is nothing new to the new Jet fans that have been watching the team and doing it. For all those Jet fans that are older, that watching this team, we look at this window as our chance. We've been watching Richard Todd. We've been watching Ken O'Brien. We've been watching the Browning Nagels come into this thing. We've been watching all these quarterbacks come into this stadium and promises and things. We've had great defense. We want to win now. We think this is our best chance. So, yeah, we want to put all the chips on the table this 2-year run. So I'm a proponent of trading up for Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors, or if Harrison falls, which I don't think he is. But I think Malik Neighbors, everyone agrees, whether you're the Brock Bowers guy or you're a Malik Neighbors, even Marvin Harrison, Harris Harrison guy, you know that Joe Alt is a standard. You know that he's going to be there for 15-plus years. You know he's going to be – there's no question about this guy. Maybe the strength, he has to learn a couple of things like every rookie does, but you know he's going to be a standard on the offensive line. You know he's going to be there for 10 years. I don't think any Jet fan, regardless if they're offensive or they has a problem with Joe Alt. It's not as many draft choices as you get. It's the quality draft choices that you get. And guys in the second and third round still have to learn this game. They're not coming in dominating.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
What second round pick have you known in the past 2 years have developed propelled a team to a championship? And what other than a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Hold on a second. You're talking about second round picks that have come in and been able to impact the team and be a weapon.
First year.
Okay.
First year.
Breece Hall. Breece Hall did that for the New York Jets. He literally, ever since we drafted him, and you could look, it was in the second round, he's literally been, you could argue that he's the best weapon on our offense. You could argue that.
I agree.
His first year before he went down, before he went down with the injury, Breece Hall literally was the Jets' heartbeat on offense. Without him doing something, there was nothing. Then he comes back this year, right? And we were all concerned about the injury, right? The injury that he had, the ACL. But he came back and he was smoking this year too. And if the offensive line was better, Breece Hall would have probably ran. It looked like he could run for 2,000 yards. Dude, he was crazy this year too. And there's been other guys as well that have been able to impact teams their first year. Creed Humphrey, you look at what he did for Kansas City. Why do you think Patrick Mahomes is so comfortable? Like, there's a lot of things. There's guys in the second round that can make the impact. I understand what you're saying about, being all in, but you don't want to be all in, so far in that you literally blow off your future. That's the last thing you want to do. And we know that Aaron Rodgers is going to be here for some years to come. Now, do the New York Jets need to go crazy and just throw everything completely away and out the door? No, we don't need to do that. I understand Jets fans that want to trade up for Alt, and I get it. But my concern is, how much value are we giving up? And I feel like because there's a possibility that there could possibly be a quarterback still available. Possible. And if that happens, man, that price is going to get very expensive. Extremely expensive, especially when we got other teams calling to grab that pick. I don't think you'll be able to do it. And even if that doesn't happen, just moving from 10 to 5, I think is going to be pretty expensive anyway, especially due to the fact that we don't have a second-round pick this year in the draft. So I get it. But for me, my thing is, right, when I talk to fans like yourself as well, I'd rather us move back, grab a guy like Troy Fautanu. Let's have the discussion. Grab a guy like Troy Fautanu, who's versatile, who's a great lineman, right, that's going to be able to fill our spots if need be. We gain capital, and then we can draft a wide receiver that's going to come in and be impactful in the second round. Guys that can come in and handle business, guys that can add to this offense, a guy that we can pair with Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall and become a weapon that way. I don't see why that isn't a good move either. But give me your thoughts, Chris.
Well, like I said, in the draft, in the NFL draft, you this is what I learned about being a Jet fan for a long time, right? If the Jets took the guaranteed pick, right? They took the guaranteed star. They took Warren Sapp. They took the other guys that were guaranteed star. Start speculating. This guy had went to this. They took the guy that they knew that was going to be the guy, right? If they did that, the Jets would have already won a Super Bowl. So when we go,
they've done that before, though.
No, but I'm just saying we're going along the same thing. And yes, they have done that before. You're absolutely correct. They've done that in the past. And sometimes the draft works in serious ways. But like I said, in mysterious ways. But like I said, saying this is what I'm saying. Saying a guy in the third or fourth round can't play. He can't play at all, right? He can't do anything at all. Saying that just throwing this guy out, or even a first-round pick, right, and saying he's going to come in and he's going to dominate guys like Von Miller on the offensive line and he's going to destroy. Mekhi Becton was a different story, okay? Mekhi Becton was a guy that was really big, really strong, really thick, and he got hurt and affected his career. So he was, a different kind of cat. So a lot of these guys, even if you look at the guys last year, the guy you liked on Ohio State, his year was okay. We talked about Broderick Jones. They're talking about moving him to right tackle. So like I said, I'm saying that the draft, right? You have to take you speaking of top 10, you got to take the guy. You got to take the guy who is going to be the guy. It's not trade up for the guy that you think is going to be the guy. So, like I said, that's my thing. I'm looking at a 2-year window because only Hall of Fame quarterbacks are winning championships. So I'm looking at this from a perspective where, yeah, we can get a good quarterback and guy can throw for 500 yards, but we need a Hall of Fame guy to come in and win. I think Aaron Rodgers can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah. I mean, the only difference is if you're saying that the Jet fans, if we're going to be a run-focused offense and we're going to run the football and we're going to run and play defense, you know what? Yeah. And we're going to keep teams off the field, and our philosophy is we're going to run the football and we're going to run it down your throat. Okay, well, then you know what? Maybe trade back, maybe get these guys and the thing. But the way the NFL's going, it's a passing league. You got to have guys that can score points very quickly. And I'd rather go up and try to get the best guy possible. I like the receivers. I like even a guy like Brian, the guy Thomas.
Here's the thing.
And
I hear you. I don't mean to cut you off, Chris, but here's the thing. I hear you. It is a passing league, and this is an offensively driven league. But you also need to be able to block, right? And when you look at Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, there's injury history, especially Tyron Smith. There's no way he's going to play a full season. Nobody can say for sure, oh, yeah, he's going to – no, he's not. Everybody talks about the deal he got. Does anybody remember why he got that deal and why he's a New York Jet? To be completely honest, is because the market wasn't what he thought it was going to be. He was demanding quite a bit of money before teams was like, oh, you haven't been healthy since 2015. So if he goes down this season, there is no answer for him at left tackle. Do not tell me that Carter Warren is going to be the New York Jets starting left tackle if Tyron Smith only plays 4 games, because that is scary as hell. I don't want to have nothing to do with that. You don't have to have a bunch of all-star receivers to be successful when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. He will lift the play. He will lift everything else. Even if we lose Garrett Wilson, he will lift the play of the offense because it's Aaron Rodgers. We'll still be solid. I do not want to not have him protected. I don't want that. And I understand you talking about wanting to grab wide receivers. I get it. But I need a lineman. And I need a lineman today, and especially if we're talking about the future of this team. Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, to this point, you cannot say those guys are going to be here past this year. But I'll give you the final word before I let you go, man.
All right. So like I said, if we're going to be – my thing is that I believe that that in terms of the you're going to trade up for Alt. Nobody has a problem with Joe Alt. No Jet fan. I don't care if you Brock Bowers guy, I think Joe Alt is the guy that I'm against trading down because the second best line is Olu Fashanu. You know what I'm saying? That's the second best guy in this defense. If we stay at number 10 and we have to go offensive lineman, as you're saying, the 2 guys that you're talking about is Olu Fashanu or thing. But I think they're going to be taken before that. But here's the thing, and I'll leave on this point.
Yeah.
All the Jets fans and all the people and all the offensive line, which I think he is going to draft the offensive line. I think Joe Douglas is going to invest another top 10 pick, and I believe that's going to happen, right? But what I'm saying is that when Randall Cobb is out on the rock and Marcos Valdes-Scantling is out there, right? I don't want to hear complaints. The Jets don't have weapons, and these guys that Aaron Rodgers are bringing in, it's not a thing. You know, we understand, I mean, looking at this thing, that's what's going to happen. So if we're comfortable with that and we're going in knowing that Marcos Valdes-Scantling and Randall Cobb is going to be on this team, and we know that that's going to be the other receivers, Garrett Wilson, we understand that. So going in there, that's it. And
listen, and I hear you, but I don't think that you know, we'll see what happens going forward. But here's the thing is I think a lot of Jets fans, they have this outlook on the team because of what happened last season. People forget this offense will look completely different with Aaron Rodgers at the helm of it, fully healthy. It's not going to look the same. Our weapons are not going to look. Garrett Wilson was wide open. If anybody can go back and watch, we watched these games together, Chris. He was wide open like 90% of the game, most of these games. Garrett Wilson, easily. He had over 1,000 yards this past season. He should have easily had over 1,500 yards. The reason we could not find him when he was running wide open with his hands waving in the air is because, one, our offensive line couldn't block, and then we didn't have the talent at quarterback to find him. We didn't have that. Look at Conklin. Conklin had over 600 yards. Quarterback play was poop. You telling me that he's not a guy that can really get things done? I think he could with Aaron Rodgers fully healthy. I think that Jeremy Ruckert is really good too. Everybody's talking about drafting another tight end. Why? Jeremy Ruckert's really good. If he was utilized, these are all things, and we're not even talking about Breece Hall. I really think that this offense is much better than people think it is, or at least better than what people have in their own minds, because Aaron Rodgers didn't play last season. I think if Aaron Rodgers, again, is fully healthy this season, this offense is going to be completely different, but you must keep him protected. Listen, Chris, I got to slide off before I go.
We just got to hold our breath.
Go ahead.
We just got to hold our collective breath and say a prayer every time Garrett Wilson gets hit.
We'll be all right, Chris. We'll be all right. Listen, I got to slide off. The next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? All right, you have a good one.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Listen, Chris calling in. I respect Chris. I respect his takes. Everyone knows I love going back and forth and having this discussion. But, man, oh, man, I need an offensive lineman. I'm not against anybody that doesn't want to take one. I want to hear you out. But I'm just like, and especially if I can trade down and get Fautanu, man, I don't know how you pass on that. We'll keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Okay, Savages, I see y'all. I'm going to come to y'all in a second, but the line's hot, and we got Phenom on the line, and we got to talk to him. We're going to Phenom, okay? For those of you that do not know, this man Phenom, he's a savage. Phenom, here we go.
Salutes.
Y'all listen. Phenom salutes Phenom. I'm going back and forth with people tonight, and man, people are angry, man. Look, Phenom, I want to. If the Jets are at 10, right? Let's start with that, because we haven't talked with you in a little bit. Jets are sitting at 10. Who is the guy that you would like to see the New York Jets grab? Who's the guy at this point that you're eyeing?
Oh, well, that's a multi-pronged question, Joe. I'm in your camp. I'm just feeling like the protection of Aaron Rodgers is paramount. I loved what they did in the off season. It set this draft up so well. They filled some holes. It's not apparent like last year that we needed a tackle, but we do. I mean, because the worst nightmare for me is the Tyron Smith injury, and that would jeopardize that. But if we draft a guy like Fautanu, it would be perfect. But because this offseason is going so well, we have options. Now, I'm not going to be mad if they trade up and get a guy like Joe Alt. First two callers brought it. Chris and Justin brought it, and they had solid stuff to say. They were on point on a lot. I'm nodding and shaking my head along with them. Absolutely, So Alt is not going to be. Nobody's going to be mad if we trade up and get Joe Alt, and we have that bookend tackle, the left tackle, the what Mekhi Becton was supposed to be. If we get a guy like that and he could play 10 years, no Jet fan's going to say anything. He's the Brickenshaw Ferguson. He's Winston Hill. Hopefully, a guy like that. So that's set up. But also or Marvin Harrison. Let me mention his name. If we trade up and get a guy like Marvin Harrison, as a Jet fan, we now have two Ohio State receivers. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye fan. It would be a thing of beauty. It would be a thing of beauty. But we also know, with that being said, we still have to address the offensive tackle position. So let's say we stick and pick at 10. if we get a guy like Troy Fautanu from Washington, who's a Swiss Army knife, am I going to be upset? No. But also, if we trade down, and it's risky because now if we can get a second round pick, that makes that first round pick. Does it have to be a tackle? No. What do we do? Joe Douglas has made some good decisions, so I'm going to trust. If he trades down, he has an idea. The second round, if he can get a second round choice for that number 10 pick, then we can now get the offensive lineman and the weapon. So that would be the perfect case scenario. So
listen, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm right there with you, and that's why I like the idea of moving down to. And I know now Fautanu, a lot of people are talking about him going top 10. I mean, he's really heating up, man. I remember when there was talks about him going somewhere, in the 20s and stuff like that, and that was just like 2 weeks ago. Okay,
sure.
Now there's a lot of talk about him being top 10, and I get it because he's phenomenal. I've seen him. But there's been a lot of Jets fans as well. We talk about offensive line. There's a lot of Jets fans that want Bowers. And I know that you've had, or you've seen those, fans be very vocal about him and very vocal about bringing him into, this New York Jets facility and being a Jet. I want to get your thoughts on this. What do you say, Phenom, to those Jets fans that say, listen, you got to draft Bowers because he comes in and he's a day one guy that's going to come in and be immediate impact for you? And that if you take an offensive lineman, that's idiotic because none of them will be your day one starters. What do you say to people that say things like that?
I say, you haven't seen Tyler Conklin and you haven't seen Jeremy Rucker. Then do you know about these guys? I have nothing against Bowers. Bowers is he the best tight end prospect I've ever seen? Can you tell me? Without question that is he going to be Sam Laporta from last year? I don't know. I think we have a pretty good position, and we have a guy like Kenny Yeboah. I mean, we got 3 tight ends right there. Those are 3 pretty good players, and I think that they should have some production next year if we don't draft Brock Bowers. So it's not the player. The players, that wouldn't be the move I would make, but that's just me. But this is not fantasy football either. This is NFL football. I mean, we have to live with these decisions for more than one season. So. No,
listen, I hear you, and like I said, I'm right there with you. I think that Brock Bowers is a phenomenal player. I think he's good, but we have tight ends already, and you just meant Yeboah. There's another guy as well. I'm not going to say his name because YouTube be tripping, but from ODU that we took. And I remember Jets fans were just screaming. Yeah, they were just screaming about this guy. And they were just raving, he's 6. He's 6. Well, watch it. YouTube be tripping, okay? They take it somewhere else. Got to be careful. So, listen, they were screaming about this guy and the threat that he could be. And now it's like, hey, let's just throw him away. You know what I'm saying? And let's move on and draft another tight end. Look, I get it. Bowers is a good player, but there's other greater needs than tight end, and I don't think that we should handle business that way. Now, you were talking about targeting things. Let's say the Jets do get a second round pick. What are you looking to take in the second round, and is there a player that you're eyeing that you want to see the New York Jets grab in that second round?
Well, it all depends. Of course, it all depends on what we do with the first round pick. Do we draft? Do we draft?
Let's say we take a lineman. Let's say we trade down. We take a lineman in the first. What are you doing in the second?
I'm looking for a weapon. I'm looking for a wide receiver, and I'm liking Xavier Legette from South Carolina, but I'm also digging. I'm looking for a player like that. So I mean. This is a draft heavy, wide receiver heavy draft. So you can find some guys. Some guys are gonna just pop. I mean, but Legette played in the big. He played SEC football. He had a monster year. You and he seems to be able to do many things. So that's a guy I really like. So that's just one, but he's a guy that I've been liking for a while.
Okay.
So yeah, but if we get the tackle, if we can get Fautanu, if we move down, get a second round pick, get Fautanu, and then get a weapon, that would be awesome. I don't think that's realistic though. Depending on who we deal with, who we trade with, you know.
Yeah, the thing is, and like I said, I think I know that there's a lot of talk about him going top 10. I feel like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, especially with the draft coming near. We'll start to hear some crazy things. Maybe that's how it's playing out. My only concern is if the Jets trade down, the only concern would be, do you want to trade down past the Raiders or New Orleans? I feel like those two teams will be looking for some offensive line help. But listen, Phenom, I got to slide off because I'm short on time. I don't need Blog Talk hating on me. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right? I really like
Thank you, Joe. Always nice talking to you, Joe. Take care.
Absolutely. You have a good one. Listen, we're going to take our final call, 610. We're coming directly to you, 610, okay? I'll get to the Savages in just a second, okay? 610, you're looking like a new caller. Give me your name, where you're from, and give me your thoughts about the New York Jets, man. How are you feeling about Ashtyn Davis being re-signed?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so my name is Stos Mosh. I've been a Jets fan for about 12, 13 years now. A lot of ups and downs, but, you know, I'm seeing a lot of promise with this defense. I am a little mad about losing Huff, but I'm excited about Reddick in a way. I don't know if I should be, though. I don't know. I wanted your opinion on whether it's a good or bad thing that we have him, because, like, if we do end up, if he has a good season, right, like we expect him to, we probably end up having to sign him to, 3 to 4 years, maybe 50 million.
Yeah, that's a great take. And I'm correct. Your name is Stos, am I correct? That's your first name?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that I didn't
John.
mispronounce it.
Yeah,
okay, I call you Stos. I have no issues. So listen, first off, thank you for calling in, Stos. And this is a great question. I think that it's a phenomenal move that Joe Douglas made. I did not like losing Huff, though. I will say that. I would have preferred that they kept Huff, especially for what he got paid. It was like $17 million, I think, a season. I wish they would have kept him. But grabbing Riddick, you're grabbing a guy that's had double-digit sacks for, I think, the last 3 or 4 years or something like that. Been an all-pro guy, been a Pro Bowler. Like, he's great.
He's a run stopper
1 year
as well.
thing.
He can get you behind the line as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, dude, he can do it all. No, he can do it all. The thing is, though, like you said as well, is getting that contract extension done. I think that I hope that Joe Douglas doesn't do what he did with Huff, which is let this thing play out and then try to get something done in free agency or whatever. Maybe they can utilize the franchise tag if something like that happens, but then you're really going to be paying out the wazoo. I'm hoping that they get something done soon. And like you said as well, the numbers are going to be up there. I know people talk about, 3, maybe 4 or 40 million or whatever, but let me tell you something. Pass rushers, especially pass rushers like him, like Reddick, they get paid in this league. They get paid real big-time deals. So,
those
man, oh,
man.
man.
No joke.
No joke, and they always
get
paid.
And sometimes you can even drop Reddick back in the linebacker position if you want to, right? He's a hybrid.
Yeah. That's something you can absolutely do. But definitely, putting that guy on that edge and having him been, I think is going to be phenomenal for the Jets defense, especially when you look at what bringing Reddick in really relieves the pressure off of Will McDonald, because once Huff was gone, people were like, Will McDonald better be the guy. Now Will can kind of ease into his second year. He can do his thing, take his next step, and it won't be so much pressure because Jets fans were ready to jump on the back of Will McDonald and completely destroy him if he didn't have 15 sacks this season upcoming. Now he can do a thing, and not only that, but he can learn as well. I'll give you the final word.
No, I was literally agreeing with you. I was trying to explain that to my buddy. He's a Jets fan as well. I'm trying to keep him on the Jets trade because he's almost on the edge of giving up, But no, I agree with everything you're saying. I want to know the last thing before I head out of here. Do you think it's kind of like a two-part question? Do you think that Marvin Harrison drops to number 10?
Ooh, I don't. I don't know.
Right?
I don't think he will. Yeah, I don't think he will. Oh man, he's phenomenal.
I know
that there's a lot
steal him from us. Like if he does drop to us, right? Is it for sure a green light? The Jets are getting him 100%. You think?
Who?
Or do you think there's another piece that we probably need before that?
Are you talking about Marvin Harrison?
Yeah, because I mean we already got Mike Williams, we got Garrett Wilson. Connect that with Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall in the backfield. I mean, I don't know how much more offense you could ask for. I mean, it's never too much, right? Obviously, but.
Yeah, no.
Would that be the first thing that we want right now, a receiver?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Again, Marvin Harrison. I don't think there's any way that he makes it to 10 whatsoever. I think that Neighbors, Harris are going to be gone. Maybe Rome is going to be there at 10 if the Bears don't take him. I can see the Bears taking him though, especially with them taking Caleb as well. You pair him with a young wide receiver. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be fire. But Rome is probably the most likely guy, but I don't think that Harrison is going to be there at all. But if he is, you're running to the podium to announce that he's going to be a New York Jet. I feel like that's probably what they'll do.
Who was that one speedster, the youngster that broke that 40 time?
I know what you're talking. That guy from Texas. I can't remember his name though. I'm
not saying I want him, but hey, it wouldn't be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Listen, so
anyway,
I gotta slide off. I gotta slide off, man.
Yeah, I love your show. I love what you're doing. I'm just going to leave it with this. Jets, Jets. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Listen, I want to thank Stokes for calling in, but we're getting short on time, and Blog Talk hates on your boy, okay? But I'll tell you, I don't think there's any way in the world that Marvin Harrison is going to be there at 10. I don't. I really, really don't. But if he's there, I don't think that Joe Douglas would pass on him. Even though I want an offensive lineman, I don't think that there's any way that Joe Douglas would pass on him at all. I don't. Even though I don't want it, I don't think that Joe Douglas would do it whatsoever. So I got to close the show out. Salutes to all of the savages in the chat, okay? Let me tell you. Wait, Dano, let me get to him, says, let me ask you, LBJ, if our window is as wide as we keep this team together, isn't it smarter to slide and take two starters stuck in their fourth-year rookie deals than it is to trade up and take one elite guy? Listen, the more draft capital that you can grab, Dane, I'm right there with you. Moving down, grabbing a young, offensive lineman that can come in, like I said, Fakanu is my guy, grabbing him, bringing him into the building, and grabbing another, wide receiver in the second or wherever you get it is going to be good to go, okay? Going to be good to go. So I'm right there with you, all right? So salute to all the savages. We're going to close out the show now quickly because Blog Talk is going to be hating. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well. Going over to Twitter, type in @The Long Beach Joe, @The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. Follow you, boy. I'll follow you right back. You troll me. No issues. I'm the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. At all times, okay? It's SC, fight on, okay? So if you want to troll me, let's go, all right? I'm also on YouTube as well. Come on over to YouTube. Type in Long Beach Joe Jets. Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, all right? Subscribe, hit that notification bell. When I post content, you'll be in the know. Also, if you want to troll me, go ahead and get in those comments and troll me, and I'll troll you right back. And as always, people, when you see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone, okay? Free hugs for everyone. I want to thank everyone that calls in, that interacts with your boy any way that you do. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Without y'all, I'm absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to kick it with your boy and call in. So until the next show, folks, you folks have a good one. Peace.